and welcome to this week's reading vlog. It is unbearably warm today. I am really hot. I've just got home from work and we're in the midst of a heat wave here in Britain. It has been unseasonably warm, getting on for like 40 degrees to get today. Celsius, that is. For reference, if you don't come from Britain, a nice summer day would usually be about 23, 24, so this is just unheard of. But everyone has been talking about the weather non-stop, but we've all managed to get through it, and hopefully this evening it will cool down slightly. I am going to go and sit in the shade in the garden shortly and do some reading because I have no energy for anything else. So in terms of what I will be reading this week, I had a super productive week last week when I was on holiday. I read a large number of books, far more than I would usually do in a week, and I'm hoping that some of that productivity can carry forwards, even though I will be a lot busier now I'm back home. So I really want to carry on with the Tide Child trilogy, the Bone Ships books, that is. I read the first two last week on holiday and I'm eagerly awaiting the third one to arrive. I ordered it the other day, so fingers crossed that will arrive shortly and I'll be able to start that one. I could buy the audiobook like I have for the previous two, but I don't have any Audible credits left at the moment and I kind of want to read this one a bit slower and read it physically, so that one will be on the TBR for later this week, I believe. I'm in the mood for more murder mysteries, so I'm going to pick up this beautiful copy of Agatha Christie's Midsummer Mysteries, which is a short story collection of I think 12 stories featuring a range of her different detectives and all set in and around summery settings and themes. So I think I'm going to read one of these a day over the next few days, and I'm really looking forward to getting to that one as well. And then the final book which I have on my radar that I'd like to pick up soon is Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker, aka Shauna Maguire. She's writing under a different name as this is a middle grade book. I have loved everything by this author that I've read previously. I've read the entirety of her Wayward Children series up to date and love the writing style. I love the whimsical elements to them. It's just a beautiful style of story and storytelling. So I'm really hoping that this one is written very much in the same vein. I don't know anything about the story, but if it is anything like the previous books by this author, then I am destined to love it. It is also short, like her previous books are. This is another novella, so hopefully it's something I can get through fairly quickly this week, in a couple of days, and I'm hoping to find this on Scribd probably as an ebook or an audiobook to be able to read this one without having to try and get it from the library. So I might actually pick that one up this evening. I'm going to read the first of the Midsummer Mysteries stories and then try and find Over the Woodward Wall, and I will let you know my thoughts once I've got started with the book. Excited to finally get started reading this. I really want to see how this series ends. This is one of my most anticipated books and I intend to pick it up this very evening. I feel like it has been a really long time since I talked to you about any of the books I'm reading, or in fact even read anything. I am on a supremely busy few days at work at the moment. I am actually on a day off today, but it is only one of 2 days off in a 15-day period. So consequently, I'm very tired. And I've also had a very productive day of sorting all of the errands out that I never have time to do while I'm at work. So busy, but I've rewarded myself this afternoon with a walk. I've come out to the hills, one of my favourite places. It's actually lovely and quiet today. It's so peaceful here as well. Like, there's no wind, there's no other people around. It's just me and the bird song and the stillness, and it's almost eerie. It's so still. It's beautiful. I feel like we're kind of waiting for a storm or something because it's very overcast and very still, but it's got that feeling in the air like something might be building up. I don't know. It's very good ambience anyway. And I have brought a new read which I've started today, the last read I hope to get through in July, and that is the third book in the Tide Child trilogy by R.J. Barker called The Bone Ship's Wake. I am so excited to get to this. I have read the previous 2 books in the series very recently. I read them a couple of weeks ago when I was on holiday, and I'm really excited to get to this conclusion of the series and have got through a series in very quick succession, which I can't remember having done with a brand new series for quite some time, so it shows you how much I've enjoyed it. The first 2 books in the series were both 5 stars, and I very much hope this is also 5 stars and is a satisfying conclusion, but we will see. I feel like it could be quite sad, this book, but hopefully it's more like bittersweet ending rather than just tragic, but who knows. But regardless, I'm really excited to get to this and to immerse myself in more swashbuckling piratical adventures. I'm just here for it, and it's wonderful. Sadly, I'm not at a sea location anymore like I was when I was on holiday, but I have my memories to go on, and I will just dream of the sea instead of actually looking at it for a change. So let's sit and do some reading now. I also have the audiobook of this one, so I can listen to a bit more while I'm out and about on my walk. It is now a few days later, and I'm actually at my grandma's house today. I came up yesterday and went for a lovely walk on my way up here in the north of England, and then have stayed with her last night, and I'm actually heading home later today. I just have a couple of days off from work in lieu of a weekend that I've worked, so took full advantage of both some nature time and some family visiting. I also have been doing a fair bit of reading, so as you've seen in the previous vlog clips, I am making my way through Bone Ship's Wake by R.J. Barker, the third book in the Tide Child trilogy, and oh my gosh, I'm having an amazing time with this. I will get to that in just a second. I have made very good progress with this book. I only have about 150 pages left now, which I most definitely will be finishing today, and this is just incredible. So the previous 2 books in the series have both been 5 stars for me, and this one is definitely set to be the same, short of having a massively disappointing ending. I can't see how this would not be 5 stars because everything I've loved about the previous 2 books still applies to this one. The action, the characters, the plot is just all absolutely amazing. The political intrigue in this is wonderful. It's very gritty and hard-hitting in places, as with the previous 2 books. This one especially, big trigger warnings for torture in this one, so if that's the sort of thing that bothers you, please be aware if you're going into this book. I do find that personally quite uncomfortable to read myself, but there are only small mentions, and it personally doesn't massively detract from my enjoyment of the overall book, but just something to mention there. It really feels darker in tone as well, this book. I think because we are reaching somewhat of a conclusion to the adventures of our characters over the trilogy, it feels very ominous the whole way through, and it kind of reminds me and feel a little bit of when I read some of the Game of Thrones books, that you just never feel like you can trust what's going on, and there's not that underlying sense that it'll all be okay in the end and that the characters you care about definitely will come through, because you just don't know with this, and a lot of characters that we do love do end up having horrible things happen to them, so nobody feels safe, and that really adds to the tension, which I find very exciting. But I am also kind of terrified reaching the end of this book. So as with the others, I've been listening to it as a combination of audiobook while I was in the car on my way up, and then some physical reading as well. I'm just making my way through a little bit more this morning while my grandma's out on some errands. And as I say, I hope to finish this one later, so I will be able to wrap up my thoughts of this once I'm back home later on. I'm also planning to head out into town a little bit later, so I might read some of this in a coffee shop or something. You will see, I'm sure, based on what footage comes next, but I'm just really, really excited. I'm at the point in this book now where I don't want to put it down, I just want to race through to the end, which might be logistically a little difficult, but as I said, definitely today, this one can be done. And that will mean I am rounding off the month with a very, very strong read, and will have actually had a very strong month overall. I have been a little bit rubbish with reading since coming back from my holiday, but the massively productive week that I had while I was away is really, really helpful. So overall, I will still have achieved around about my average number of books for the month, which is really good. So I'm going to stop rambling and get back to reading this book, and I will check in with you again with my thoughts a little bit later on. Hello again, it is a fair bit later. As you can see, I'm now back home, and I also have cut my hair, in case you noticed. But more importantly, I finished it. I have finished The Bone Ship's Wake. I've completed the Tide Child trilogy in very quick time. And oh my gosh, this book, this series was just incredible. It was everything I'd hoped it would be. Absolute classic fantasy drama and action and constant series of events, very political, but with wonderfully strong characters that you just root for and are just behind every step of the way. A lot of morally grey characters, which is one of my favourite things in fantasy series particularly. I just loved this. I did slightly tear up at the end as well. Not full on crying, but I don't really ever cry at books, but I can see that a lot of people would, because oh my gosh, this was one of those you finish and just hold tightly and don't speak for a little while. I think the Ghislaine in this is one of my absolute favourite characters ever. I just loved that character. Joran and Mies were both wonderful protagonists, and just I'm lost for words with this. I really am. It was just such a wonderful experience reading the series, and came at exactly the right time for me, and I'm so glad I finally read it. I'm not wanting to give too many spoilers away, obviously, so I won't tell you what the plot or the ending was, but it was a bittersweet ending. It was very much as I had hoped it would be. And I just absolutely loved this. So another 5 out of 5 stars. The whole series has been a 5-star series and arguably one of my favourite series I've read this year. So very, very strong book there. And I don't know what to do with myself now I've finished it. I did also, earlier on this week, which I realised I completely forgot to mention, I did read Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker, aka Shauna Maguire, which is Shauna Maguire's middle grade series, the first book in her middle grade series. I think there's 2 or 3 books out so far, I'm not quite sure. But another really enjoyable book. That one was a 4 out of 5 stars. It followed her usual format of being kind of novella length, so I think it was about 200 pages or thereabouts. And really, really enjoyable book there as well. I love the way that Shauna Maguire crafts her fantasy worlds. And we obviously experience lots of different types of fantasy worlds in her Way with Children series, which is a favourite series of mine. I absolutely love those books. This had a lot of the same feeling of those stories, but with slightly lower stakes and slightly less serious events happening. They're still not light and fluffy, but I think that was the angle she'd taken for the middle grade audience, but otherwise very much followed the same pattern and feel of story as in the Way with Children series, and I really, really enjoyed that one, so I will definitely be getting to that one. The second in the series, that is, hopefully next week, but sometime soon. I, again, audiobooked these. I listened to all of Shauna Maguire's books through Script audiobooks because they are all free on there, and it was a very good narrator, fit very well with the tone of the story, so I will probably be carrying on with the audiobook of the second one, but just wanted to mention that I have read another book this week. So I think I'm going to wrap up this vlog here. I feel like this has been quite a long and rambly one. I'm not sure how long I've been doing this vlog for. I feel like it's been a couple of weeks, but anyway, this is a fitting conclusion having finished this incredible book. So thank you very much for watching. As always, leave me a like down below if you enjoyed it. Chat to me in the comments about any of the books I've read, anything else you'd like to discuss with me. I always love to chat to you guys, and please consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content from me. It really means a lot and helps grow my channel. Thank you again, and I will see you very soon with the next video. So goodbye for now.